It's always a pleasure to hear that intro.
It's dope. It's dope.
What?
I,
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, I love that part.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Elevator Dialogue here on the Uncle Junior Network. I am the Uncle Junior, and with us today is these fine gentlemen, the rest of the Wolf Pack. Ladies and gentlemen, up here at the top with me today is Mr. Poor Man's Dr. Phil. Hold on. Somebody got to mute something because I'm hearing it. All right, here we go. Somebody still might be me. I don't know who it is. But anyway, let's get back to the show. Hey, like I said, we got poor man's Dr. Phil up at the top with me, the man of many hats. Right on my other side, we got across the table with Christopher McClellan, the angry guy, ladies and gentlemen. Down at the bottom, we got Dwayne Dwyer, the mindset coach, the only coach you'll ever need, ladies and gentlemen. Right beside him in the middle, Mr. Victor Viziant, Mr. Accountable Masculinity himself, two-time, soon to be three-time best-selling author. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, the lady in the background and the man up front, Mr. Antoine Christopher, the other artist. Antoine, how you doing today?
Real good. Thanks for asking.
How everybody else doing? I'm checking something.
I'm cool,
Good.
man. Yeah.
Good.
Chilling as always.
Yeah, good. Hey, I'm hearing some feedback, so that's why I'm pausing over here because I haven't figured out where it's coming from yet. Actually, I think I just found it.
You got two
It was on my
YouTube
end.
pages open?
It was me. Yeah, I had it going on over here. I thought I had muted it, but I didn't. So, but either way, ladies and gentlemen, we here tonight back again for part 2 on managing your energy. And with that being said, gentlemen, how are you guys' energy level tonight?
Good.
Pretty good, man.
I'm good.
Ready to get it going. You know?
Antoine looked like he on 1,000 tonight.
Coach!
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Look, man, I've been on 1,000 like all day, man. I was jumping on tables at work, and bro, I don't know what was going on, but for some reason, like these last 2 days, ever since I kind of like been out of that whatever, like especially these last 2 days, man, it's just been like my energy level has just been just very, very high. You know what I mean? So it's just like I don't know what it is. I ain't complaining about it, but I am really enjoying it. I think part of it has to do with the weather a little bit, and the fact that I go on. We got spring break starting next week, so I got a couple things lined up with the wifeys. One of the homeboys. I'm probably gonna go down and see Eric too. Eric Johnson. He was on the show a couple times or so. But with that being said, man, we about to start the show. I want to first start off by thanking everybody at home who's watching, everybody who's tuned in right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any of these social media platforms. Thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank everybody who's in already joining in the chat. I want to thank everybody who has already subscribed, hit the like button, shared this content, and everything like that. I really appreciate everybody who is here tonight. I want to give a special shout out to all our servicemen out there. We understand how hard it is to go through some of the things you do, whether it be working late night hours, being called up at the last minute to go and do something, or being deployed, or all the above. So, like I said, thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to salute all you gentlemen. We are ready to start the show. Let me pull up my notes over here on my other screen. As you know, last week we started talking about managing your energy, different things like that. And this week we're going to continue on with that. We're going to first start off by talking about recognizing and dealing, recognizing and dealing with people. Hold on. Yeah, recognizing dealing with energy suckers. So that's where we're going to start with tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And the first thing we're going to roll with is, what does it mean to manage your energy? What does it mean to manage your energy? We talked about managing emotions up here plenty of different times, but I want to go into a little bit and let's start talking about what does it mean to manage your energy.
Managing your energy just it means, take the healthy risks with your energy. Don't overwhelm yourself. um, make smart decisions about how you feel and what you want to go do. Balance your confidence out. Uh, Ego management. I think that kind of goes with it too. I think it's about uh, not taking on more than you need to take on.
So are you talking like pretty much like a balance almost,
Oh,
as far
absolutely.
as when it comes to managing your energy?
Yeah, I think balance is always key, but balance doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be equal. It's just going to be manageable. Like, you could take so much more on some days than you can on others. So achieving whatever that balance looks like, it might be 90-10 in one direction, 80-20 in another. Could be 50-50, could be perfect in some cases, but on rare occasions where you got to rely on a little bit more resiliency than previous days. You just want to make sure you're not doing that in such a consecutive way where you don't have enough left for yourself.
Go ahead, coach.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also look at it from the perspective of kind of like understanding where you are as far as what your energy output looks like. And that becomes important because, first and foremost, I need to understand the level of energy that I want to, extend. Once I understand that, then I can gauge what it is that I'm doing, how I'm projecting that, and then make, some micro adjustments on my end. So, first and foremost, understanding where I want to be as far as energy is concerned, look at my output and then kind of manage that, making micro adjustments going through. So that's kind of like what I look at when we say manage your energy output.
Yeah. I I like both what what both of you have said so far. I just want to add in, I think that it also, and it's probably a lot to what, you were saying too, coach, is that, kind of like pick and choose how much energy we need to give to what. You know what I mean? When it comes to conversations with people, it's like, how much energy do I want to put into this conversation? Is it healthy? Do I need to have a conversation? Is it worth it? You know what I mean? Are we talking about something healthy, or are we just over here spinning our wheels? How much energy do I want to give to that, versus there may be another conversation where I could really benefit from it. So I may be more invested in, listening more, having effective listening, and just having overall, just be more engaged and having more energy when it comes to just that conversation in general. So it's kind of like, knowing what to give, knowing which project to give how much energy.
Mhm.
Is that kind of similar to what you were saying, coach?
Distribution,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I think ideally it goes back to just number one, having in my mind, like what I want to put out, like, the circle I keep, the outcomes I'm looking for. And then looking at what it is I'm putting in the atmosphere. Do I need to up my energy? Do I need to kind of scale it back before I kind of burn myself out? All of those things are important to consider.
I'd say I look at energy the same way I look at how you handle your time. I manage it the same way. How much energy I give to certain things, how much energy, like just like how much time I give to certain things, right? So you have to match that, right? Don't give energy where it's not needed. Don't give energy where it's not wanted, right? You give you energy if you're passionate about something. Your first thought energy should go in that direction because it's only going to be fruitful. So I manage my energy like I manage my time, right? It's very valuable. I think of it as very and I put patience behind it. I think a lot behind it. How much is it going to sap out of me if I decide to do it? I look at energy as something physical, like if I'm training. If I go train later in the day, how much energy am I going to be motivated to draw later on at night because there's a recovery period, stuff like that. So that's one way of looking at it.
I think you all hit it on the head, really. It's really all about what you want to put your energy into and whether or not it's worth it. A lot of stuff that we engage in, it's really not worth the energy that we let go. And then we wonder why we're not replenished or why we can't put more energy into something that's important. because you wasted your energy over there doing this that's unnecessary. So, yeah, that's how I look at it. Is this going to help me progress? If not, I'm
Yep.
not putting my energy towards it. Is this conversation going to lead to us coming to a mutual outcome or agreeing to disagree? Or is it just going to be an argument and a competition because you want to be right? I don't want to put my energy into that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just determining what you want to, it's determining what you yourself want to be involved with.
Yep.
I agree with all y'all. And I think that it starts with identifying what sucks your energy away, what removes it, because when you can identify that, you can steer clear of that. You can steer clear of the people and their comments. And that's why when I wake up, I don't just jump on social media because I know it's a bunch of mess. I don't just watch news because I know they just want you to see the worst of the worst. So I got to meditate. I got to get my mind right before I can just, engulf myself in things of the world. And so managing it, first I manage what I let come in so that I can be already at a certain level before I even have to deal with anything.
Yeah. You mentioned sucking the energy out, and that's what we're talking about tonight, is recognizing, dealing with energy suckers, or these people, you know what I mean, that come along to drain our energy or suck the energy out of us or suck the energy out of the room. You know what I mean? So what are some common traits and or behaviors that we can see, you know what I mean, of these people? Like when these people are around, what are some things that we can see in these people as far as like their behaviors or traits or different things like that? This should be interesting.
Narcissistic, like usually.
But see, people, hold on, before you continue with that, I like that, but I
Yeah.
also want you to like go into a little bit more detail about what that is, because a lot of people use that term, but honestly, that's a medical diagnosis. So a
Yeah.
lot of people, I just want you to be able to go into it a little bit more, so people who are watching can kind of understand what you come from, or some of those traits of narcissism, if you're going to use narcissism.
Well,
I was
because
gonna
like
ask that too, because narcissism is a buzzword now,
it's a
and people use
buzzword.
it too freely. You understand what I'm saying? So I would like to know more about that as well, so that way I know I'm not just saying it.
Yeah, like so when we discussed narcissism, and the it is a clinical diagnosis that goes with it, right? But in just behavior, human beings have um, narcissistic behaviors about something. So if you got something that you know that you're very defensive about, that you're very selfish towards or whatever, you're gonna have some level of protection around that, right? Well, when we're talking about people that are energy suckers, they can take any situation and make it about them. Like for instance, your Karens. You know what I'm saying? Your Karens, they typically have a narcissistic behavior. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, because you violated something with them that you don't even know exists. But since you're already in that level of direct violation, you're automatically some person that's put them in a trigger position where you're an abuser to some degree. You know, so they find a way to be victims. Those are other energy, sucker type of behaviors. They, like you mentioned, sucking the air out of the room. And that right there is always an energy killer, because we know the power of presence. And some people, they thrive in their presence. They thrive when they know that their presence is somewhat off-putting, not necessarily intimidating, but they have a way of capturing attention for unhealthy reasons.
Do you think that sometimes these people don't know that they suck the life out of the room?
I think wholeheartedly. I think most of them don't know. I think a lot of people walk around and they think that from a subjective place, that if they're okay, everybody else is okay. And I think that those people that generally think that way, they lack objectivity, which is one of the main components of, I believe, in communication and comprehending the other person. So you don't know like what's offensive to the other person, because you may speak to somebody that's from a different country and you might be using hand gestures that may be common practice for you, but depending on where you are in the world, it may be pretty offensive, So you have to figure out what the local, customs and courtesies are, for communicating with people. So it's hard to do that if you have to be made comfortable every time you go somewhere without you having to learn somebody else's, means of communication. So I think a lot of people that are fitting this behavior that we're talking about, that are they're self-absorbed, but they could be completely unaware. Everybody doesn't have the same situational awareness. I think generally speaking, most human beings need to have a little bit more objectivity.
I can roll with that. Any other comment? Well, here's a common trait. Here's one thing that I see is, especially when if you're a high energy dude, I think that I think I am, but I may not be. At least I am at work. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, man, you good.
I will say this. I think one of the things that one of the common traits or behaviors that people display, they're energy suckers, are people that always have a woe is me attitude, right? Every time you're around them, they're always depressed. They always have something going on. There's always something negative going on in their life. It's like you talk to them 1 minute and they're talking about, their dog and, how they couldn't make it to the vet and, the dog got a bad hip, and the next minute it's just like they only see the negative things in life. They never can see the positive. And then when they're around you, they want to start downloading all of their problems and issues and different things onto you, and I think Bold and Driven, shout out to you, Bold and Driven EP, for being here. But, and sometimes that can come in the form of a phone call. You know what I mean? We're talking about managing time. There are a lot of times where I don't talk to certain people because I already know what the conversation is going to be like. So I may have to put them on pause for a little bit, or a day or two, or a week or a month, until I think that we can have that conversation and not feel at the end of the conversation like I'm on E. You know what I mean? We coach talk about it all the time, filling up your cup, overflowing it, and then giving people the overflow. So I think that follows this line of conversation as well.
But one of the best ways to recognize an energy sucker, and it's simple. How do you feel when that person calls you? That's it. That's your first feeling. Go by it, because that's what he brings. Because an energy sucker, the first thing he's going to talk to you about is not going to be positive. And if you get that bit feeling when he calls, or the phone rings, or you look down and see that number, right off the bat, that's how that person is making you feel. So you have to make that decision to either give him that attention that he needs, or first thing you're going to say is, what is it now? What's the problem now? Because they never start with the positive energy suckers. And they make you have that acid feeling in your stomach, like, Jesus Christ. So, that's the best indicator. How do you feel when that phone rings, or you see that person? They can walk into a room and everybody's head goes down to their drink, One of those.
Bro, I get that. You ever had people call on your phone, you be like, oh, and you just like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or is it just me? Am I the only one?
Yeah, my ex-wife.
How you feel. That's the first thing.
Man, look, straight to text message. Some people, hey, look, if it can't be answered in 5 W's, it ain't important. You know what I'm saying? So you got to get back with you.
Mm-hmm.
Another common trait that I've seen a lot, and Unc, you kind of hit on it. It's the people that complain about things that they themselves can change,
can fix.
Those are the ones that that get to me, because the more I hear them talk, the more I want to say, all of this could go in a different direction if you just did this. You understand what I'm saying? It's like
it goes into an accountability story there.
Right. It's like most people want to stay in a victim state
because it's easier.
It's comfortable for them.
It's comfortable. It's like being
Yeah,
angry.
like,
So
and
it
it's
takes
like,
effort to be happy.
and it's
It
like,
takes effort to be
if
happy. You're right.
and it's like if you could take that one thing that you're complaining about, map it out, and then do that instead of complaining about it, you wouldn't have anything to complain about. I mean, yeah, it's true enough. There are things that happen that we have absolutely zero control over. But the things that you have control over and you can fix, you have no business complaining about it because you can fix it. Stop draining everybody else's energy with your victim mentality over a simple problem that you can fix with a little bit of effort and a little bit of discomfort that you got to deal with. That's
'Cause
my
they want
rant for the
credit.
evening.
Some people want credit for putting out their own fires, though, man. You know, like
What do you
most
mean by
people,
that?
like you cause a problem, or you're the agent of your own chaos, and then when you finally
You're the
get
catalyst.
you're the catalyst, and once you finally get the accountability story that goes with, oh, I'm dealing with this because I started this, and then it goes back to the small solution of deciding to fix the problem and dedicate energy to that instead of complaining. You know, you don't get credit for putting out your own fires. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just supposed to do that so you don't bleed over on other people. Because then I think when you throw the objectivity piece in there that I was talking about, you'll start realizing that, man, maybe I was leaning on other people harder than I needed to. You know what I'm saying? Because of my own problems. But until you have an experience where you're the one that's having the energy, you know what I'm saying, drained from you, and you don't see how much further you can travel without that person, you can't even give anybody the real advice on how to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so familiar, because that victim space is, you know, like comfortable, like you said. And that's one of the things I brought up earlier is like, how do you tell the signs that somebody's always playing a victim?
I think merely by the name I chose, poor man's Dr. Phil, I'm called to be a comfort to people like we're speaking about. I'm called to help counsel. I'm called to help grow, to help get out of funks. And a lot of people fall in line with what we're talking about, but how do we help them manage that? Because if we can identify it, then we can help it. So that when they come around, they can't be that way around me, because they gonna try to give it, and I gotta counter that. I gotta, now you gonna come with something negative, I'm gonna come with two positives. I'm gonna come with something to uplift you, because I don't want to be where you are, and I don't want you to continue with that mindset, because it's draining. It's not gonna drain me, because I told you I get up here beforehand, so you won't bring me down, and I gotta stay up there, so I gotta manage your conversation as well as mine.
But to that, to what point though? You know what I mean? Because like, I understand supporting and helping people that may be going things, but I think that there has to be a boundary or a line, you know what I mean, that can get crossed to where it no longer becomes help. It becomes something else. I don't know. I don't know what else it becomes. Maybe it comes to the point to where it's not that you're helping them, or maybe they don't even want our help, or maybe they don't see us as someone who can be beneficial to them doing their healing process. Or like, you know, we talked earlier, if someone is a narcissist or displays narcissism behavior, they may not know that. So getting your message across to that person may not be worth the drainage of the energy.
I
So
think
how do you balance that? Because I know, like you said, that's what you do. That's what you're called to do. So I know that you, because that's what you're called to do, you already know how to manage your energy and know how to do whatever it is you need to do for that person, and also without allowing them to drain all of your energy. So that's for you. But if we're looking at probably the general population who may not be called to help these people, what do you say to us or people like that? Not necessarily me, but just people like that.
I said it last week. I think you give people time. Like, hey, you got 5 minutes to get all that complaining out. Either you gonna crap or get off the pot. All this complaining, talking about it, where you going with it? Is it helping you? And when they see, I'm not here to just listen to you complain. I'm not just here to allow you to just beat yourself down. Because like I tell people when they are like, no, you beating up my friend. You beating no, I don't do that. So now how do you fix it? Stop telling me what you can't do. Now tell me what you can do. Because you got to change the dynamic of the conversation. Because if it's always I can't, you're right. How can you? If you ain't gonna tell me that, shut up. Shut up talking about it. You just want to complain, go in the bathroom, sit on the toilet for about 15 minutes, then come back talk to them.
But even in a situation like, okay, that's your job to help them, that's fine. But why would you even put yourself in the line of fire like crap? Like, don't you got something better to do? Like, you just walking into that guy? Or like, are we talking about people that actually call you and you give them the time of day? Because like I'm just trying to figure out, why would you even entertain yourself with that? Bro, I gotta go. I know you're suffering. Feel bad for you. Sucks to be you. Click. Go about your business. Why do you need to put yourself in that line of fire? That's what I'm trying to understand what this conversation is, right? Because unless that's your job as a therapist to help somebody, right? You can't make bad news sound pretty. If the guy's bringing it and sucking what you have in you and you're in a great mood, those 5 minutes that you give him will suck away the happiness that you just have. So why would you put yourself in that position? Right? That's why I say be selfish with your time. It's about you. It's all about me, right? And if I have the time to give you, I'm going to give it to you. But if I know I'm in a jubilee motion and I'm feeling good, why would I put myself in that position to talk to you? Unless it's a personal family or somebody important to me. But I'm still trying to figure out, like, if you have friends like that, like I know my friends and I know my acquaintances, you give me a reason why you would put yourself in a line of fire like that.
I think it's relational. Because you don't allow everybody in your space like that.
Right.
So they should already know you and what they're going to get when they come to you. So if they're complaining, they already know he ain't going to let me complain long. So whatever he's giving me, I got to adhere to it, or else he kicking me to the curb right now. Because if I just want to complain, you can go. I used to go to the baseball cage and, hit balls when they had it here. But you got to find outlets on your own as well, because you can use other people as crutches. And when you use them as crutches, if they allow you to, every time you got a problem, I got to talk to such and such. No, you don't. That's why I tell people when it came like funerals and stuff. Big Mama died at 2 a.m. Ain't nothing I can do. I pray, but ain't nothing I can do. Hit me up in the morning. Don't interrupt other people's sleep, other people's jubilation, as you alluded to, simply to vent, simply to have a moment when you can, especially we're adults. We ain't talking no little kids. Like my daughter called me this morning complaining. And I was like, okay, you knew that was going to happen. What you going to do? I think you have to be stern with whatever information you're giving people so that they know my time is valuable to me and my energy is awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Was you listening for, Coach? You heard that too?
Yeah.
And I thought I just heard the air come out something just now. I don't know what it
I
was.
thought it was Chris.
I was looking.
But then I looked up and Chris had his mic muted, so it wasn't him.
Man, look, you got a ghost of your machine over there or something.
No, I heard it too.
Yeah.
What do you guys hear?
Like a long, like you know how Chris take a deep breath before he say something? Was that you, Antoine?
I didn't hear nothing. That's why I was like, what? I thought you were talking when Roland was talking, you heard something.
Coach, you heard it, right?
It was something.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, the only one who heard, you heard it, Roland?
I heard it.
Chris, did you hear it?
It was something.
No.
Me neither. I'm like, I didn't hear
The
that.
3 old dudes heard it.
Everybody heard it.
So why you have
No,
some old dudes
Antoine
there?
and Antoine and Chris didn't hear
I
it.
didn't hear it. I thought you were talking when you meant Roland said something that hissed, and I'm like, no, I didn't hear Roland.
You did hear it?
No, I thought that's what you meant when Roland was talking, but obviously,
If you heard it, put a 1 in the chat.
Yeah, so next the whole old dude talk, because Liz said she heard it too. So now that's done.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was attacked. I felt like I was attacked just now, by the way.
No, because I'm old too. I included myself in the old dude conversation. The gray beards. You know what I'm saying?
Just so that you know, he's older than me.
Hey, while we right here, this is a good opportunity for you guys to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button, all of those different things like that. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I have been seeing, I have been watching, I have been looking at everything. There was one question that I may get back to. So if you want to put in the question, feel free to do so. I may get around to it. Liz, I saw your question. I may get to that. Brandon, thanks for being here. Eric, everybody that's been here. I know I'm going to miss some names. I apologize, but thank everybody for being here tonight. Hoping you're enjoying the show so far. Like I said, go ahead and hit that like button, all of those different things like that. So back to the topic. Where was we at? I know we were talking about some of the common traits and stuff like that.
Yeah, we talked about behaviors. We talked about people playing victim, complaining.
Oh yeah, all of that stuff.
You mentioned, I mentioned about being what amounts to being a burden, because I think the worst thing a human being can be is a burden to another human being.
I agree.
You got an able-bodied human being at that, So outside of because they take away from those that actually need it. So without calling them an oxygen thief, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're able-bodied, but you're taking away somebody else's opportunity because you invested in being a burden, you're a big-time energy sucker. Matter of fact, if you always need, by behavior and practice alone, you are taking away. So you are negative. Like, especially if you never come bringing anything. That person that come to the party and leave with 3 or 4 plates, didn't bring nothing, you know what I'm saying? That's generally a negative person. So, because they just came to takers, have no boundaries.
But you also have people that are one-uppers. Those people who you got a story and they got
another story.
And it's like, can I get my shine? Can I get mine out before you start? It's like those type of people. It's like you got to look at like, come on, man, you got a story for everything. And those people are draining as well, and that's why I say you should know who you surround yourself with and who you spend your time and energy with also.
Man, look, those people right there that's got the extra story, or got the cousin that did exactly what you doing. big energy sucker, big cap.
Hey, I feel it. Coach, what you got, man? I definitely want to hear from you.
Hey, man, I'm enjoying the conversation. Hey, so I'm definitely agreeing with what everybody's saying. I'm a spin off of what Roland said, because I do like the idea of having the positive affirmations. And I'm sure you guys heard me say it before, like, we got to be careful with the whole positive affirmations. Like, so I'm not worried about Roland. Trust me, I understand his character. But for a person who try to adopt the mindset of positive affirmations, I don't care how much syrup you pour on doo-doo, it's not going to be pancakes. So if your mindset isn't in the right place, you can say positive affirmations all you want to. You're only lying to yourself and everybody around you. Going forward, Vic, you kind of must have heard my thoughts, because the needy thing is where I was going to go with it. Like, sure, I got the whole negative energy piece, but you got to realize that there are people who will call you because they need something. And I'm not talking about something in particular as far as an item. They need counsel, they need help, they need conversation, they need somebody to talk them off the ledge. But then after that conversation is over, they do absolutely nothing different with the information that you gave them. And so next week, they need you again. They need this. We need to talk. Can I bend your ear for a minute? I just want to bump this idea off of you, or whatever the case may be. And then when that conversation over, they go back to doing the exact same thing. The issue with that whole mentality is that now, not only have they created a sense of dependency on you, you are also enabling them to continue to come back. And Garfield, I think that's the word you were looking for. You're enabling them to come back to you, because in the midst of their own mess, they can come to you and they will have that conversation where you will uplift them and make them feel good about the energy level that they possess. And it's always going to be somebody else's fault. Vic, this kind of goes back to the whole narcissistic thing, is right. It will always be somebody else's fault. They don't ever take ownership of anything they do, right? They only look to be praised. They want to have exist in a whole space of grandioso. It's all of that combined into one. So when we start talking about some of the traits and some of the behaviors exist in a space to where I need you, because I need you to help me out of this funk that I'm feeling about myself. Going back to Chris's point, because I made the decision to put myself where I am, and I am not going to do anything to change it. But you're such a good person, a good sounding board. I can use you to make me feel good about myself and then go right back to do it again.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Brandon Jeter had a great question up in here that I'd like to take some time to answer, because like we always talk about, this is a solution based platform. Is this an opportunity for us to maybe help somebody out in this area? Because if we're going to get to some of this at the end, but I think it's a good opportunity, since we already talked about some of these traits, to go ahead and jump on this question. So what is a constructive way to help people see that they are energy takers?
Be honest and direct. Be straight up. Because when you honest say, dude, you suck. You draining my energy. You always negative. I give you information. I give you whatever it is, and you got to be honest with them. If they do exactly what Coach said, if they never take your advice and adhere to it, then you got to let them know, dude, you are your own worst enemy. You are the problem. And when you take onus of self, then you can change. But until then, all you're going to do is continue to complain.
And now my feelings are hurt because I trust Roland. I'm just being honest. I'm showing you the other side of it, because
and some people maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Well, if you trust me, then you trust that what I'm saying to you is something that I'm saying to you out of love, and it's not something that I'm saying to you just to destroy you. It's something that you need to see, so that way you can move past this victim mind state that you're in right now. It's something that you need to see to move past this energy siphoning state that you're in right now. I'm telling you this because I love you. Now, you can take it any way you want to, but this is what it is. And if you and I are going to continue to have a friendship, then I need you to do this, because I can't have you taking energy from me, because I need my energy for other shit. I can't keep giving it to you and you not doing nothing about it.
Can we do a slow clap?
and to be perfectly candid, this is me speaking to my past self, because I used to be an energy taker. I used to be one of those people that was always negative. I used to be one of those people that when something was wrong, I blamed every other circumstance except for the circumstance that I saw looking directly at me in the mirror. Once I start looking at my actions, what I was doing, what I was thinking, and started actually seeing the pattern and changing the pattern, that's when everything got better.
So here's why I like what you just said, Chris. And I'm going to use that to answer Brandon's question, because I think it's a great question. You said when you made the decision, the question is, what is a constructive way to help people see? There is no constructive way to help people see. There's only two ways that they're going to see. Either they're going to make the decision, or life is going to happen to them to where they're not going to have a choice but to make the change. That's the reality of the truth. Going back to Roland's point, Roland can be as honest and blunt and straightforward with me as much as he wants to. But here's the reality of the truth. If I'm not ready to accept responsibility for my actions, my feelings are just hurt because of what Roland said. And that's just it. And now, based upon the circle of people that I spend a lot of my time with, I'm going to talk about Roland. Because, Roland ain't who I thought he was. I'm just telling you, that's how people think. The reality of the truth is that a person has to make the decision on their own, right, to change who they are. That's how you can cry, you can bleed, you can do whatever it is you want to do. It's not going to happen. You have to be either a person of significance in their life to where you separate yourselves from them and then they actually have a long talk with themselves and ask like, well, why did this happen? How did this? And then they come back to you and say, can we talk about this? Because I thought we had a relationship at some point, but then this is where it's at. So help me to understand why this took place. But again, I had to make the decision to go back to that person. So I think that's the key. I can't construct a path to another person's perspective. It doesn't work that way. As much as we would like it to be, it just doesn't work. And unfortunately, we will lose a lot of people that we care about. But here's the reality of the truth. Me separate myself from you during this particular stage of your life because you don't want to take ownership of who you are. You don't want to take ownership of the outcome of the life that you're currently living and stop blaming everybody else. Me separate myself from you is actually a good thing, because hopefully that will make you take account of your own life. But until that happens, I can't construct the way there.
I got a question for you, Coach, and it may be more clarifying. You said, and this may fall into this category. Would what you do or what I do as a coach, would that be considered a constructive way to help people see that they may be energy takers? Like when we are coaching people, right? We ask them a series of questions that provoke thought in their mind that may spark change or adjustments in their life, right? So would that be considered them making the change, or would that be considered us showing them a healthy or constructive way to help them see that?
Yes and yes.
Mhm.
Because first thing first, when we have our first conversation is not plotting you along the course of change. Our first conversation is a contractual obligation. During that contractual obligation, I'm telling you what coaching is and what coaching is not. I'm telling you up front, I am going to ask you some questions and I am going to make you step out of your comfort zone. Some of the questions that I'm going to think, some of the things I'm going to ask you to do, it's not going to be comfortable. Do I have your permission to do that? Yes. So that's them making the decision. I am being upfront with them and I am letting them know what this relationship is. It's not one that I'm going to pander to how you feel. I'm not going to play the violin while you pour the wine and get the cheese. It's not going to be any of that. It's going to be a very straightforward relationship that moves you outside of your comfort zone and make you take a strong, hard look in the mirror. You agree to that? Then you have already made the decision. And I made the decision right along with you. And we will go together at that point. It's not always going to be hard, but a lot of it is because I am making you do some things that you're not accustomed to doing. That's all it is.
Sometimes you have to treat them like it's an addiction, like an alcoholism and all that. You have to treat them like that, right? They have to hit rock bottom before they decide to say, okay, I got to do some change. I got to make a change, right? Because you can give them all the pamphlets. You can be their sponsor. You still can't drag them to the actual meeting. And the best way, like I said, for depressed people and people that are, first of all, you just got to tell them straight up, right? Because everybody has a way of hearing things differently. So if you're direct, they're going to hear it direct. If you're trying to make it sound pretty, they're going to hear a pretty story that they're not that bad. No, you that bad. I'm just telling you. You got to make them hear it, right? Now, it's just like anything else. Once you make them hear it, then you can soften the blow and say, what do you want to do about it? Depressed people need things to do. They need a task. They need to know that everything's exist. There's a world outside of how they're feeling right now. It's just a moment right now. So once you have to give them a task, something to do that shows you that they're going to bring change about. And if they keep coming back with a negative answer, why are you wasting your time with it? It's like, get a therapist, buddy. At least there you have to pay, because you ain't paying me right now. That's all I'm saying.
See, I agree with what you guys are saying, but I thought their question was helping them identify that they are energy seekers, not that they're helping them change. That's why I went with the direct, honest route.
But you can't have one without the other.
Right. But I think the change comes when they are right.
The change comes from the change should come from the initial honesty that they get up front, that you give them when they come to you with that. After that, whatever they do with it is what they do with it. Like Coach said, you can't control what they do. You can only give them the information. If they don't do anything with it, that's on them. But if I give you this and you don't do anything with it, do not come back to me with the same issue. Because then I might be a little angry about it, and I just might curse you out because I gave you what you needed the first time. You understand what I'm saying? You're not about to stay in this victim mindset. You're not about to do that. Nah, you're not about to do that, man.
But Chris, people need to know, you're going to, either way, they're going to get upset with you because the truth hurts. That's right. It. They're not getting upset with you because the truth hurts. They're not getting upset with you as a person, right? They're getting upset because you're telling them what they already know, but now somebody's saying it to their face and they can't turn left or right and avoid it. Because the truth does hurt.
But some people can't tell the difference between the two. Some people can't tell the difference between you telling me what I need, you telling me what I need to hear because I need to hear it, and you just saying this because you think this and you just want to make me angry because you're not telling me what I want to hear. Some people can't tell the difference. Right. And that's when you got to, I'm going to just say it, you remove yourself, like Coach said. Me taking myself away from you when you doing that is what's best for both of us, because it's probably not going to end well if I stay here and you keep coming to me with the same nonsense. Like, it's not going to end well. So we may as well just part ways now. Come back when you're ready.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, the truth doesn't hurt. The way you feel about the truth hurts. That's what hurts. The truth is the truth. That's it. Once we change our mindset, then we'll realize and recognize the truth for what it is. And to your point, just like, Chris just said, I have literally had intake calls where I have told people I can't help you. Like, just straight up. Go find, they can go find somebody else. But I told her, I give you a perfect example. I had a young lady. She wanted, she needed my help. She literally said, I need your help. And, she spent like about 45 minutes talking about her ex-husband. And I told her, I said, well, listen, I said, I can appreciate all of that. I said, but we're going to talk about you. She said, no, I appreciate that, but I need to talk about him. I need to kind of get this out in the open. And I said, unfortunately, I can't help you. You need to go find a therapist. That's who you need to talk to. And I'm okay with that. And she had to be okay with it as well, because I would not sign a contract with her. And that's and that's in a professional setting. But I also think the same thing happens in a personal setting as well. At some points in time, you need to be honest with people and tell them, say, listen, man, I've been trying to talk to you about this for quite some time. But you know what I realized? I can't help you.
Hey,
you're muted,
part
bro.
Right there.
My friend told me a story. He had a ex-fiance, and every time that she would do something crazy and he would leave, she would call him saying that she was going to kill herself, this, that, and the other. Now, suicide is nothing to take lightly, but he said one time it was like the fifth time. She called him and she was talking to him, and he said, I'm trying to talk to you. And then she said, well, I'm going to kill myself. He hung up on her. And then she called back. And then she said, why you hang up on me? He said, because you told me you had something to do. She used what she was saying in his emotions to make him do what she wanted him to do. So he got to a point to where he said, all you do, you're not going to do it. You just using that as a tool to get me to do what you want. And then he said, you got something to do, go handle it. And that's why I say it's not something that you take lightly, but those people, if you're going to do something like that, you're just not talking about it. This person constantly talked about doing it. And after that, she didn't like her answer, and it was what it was.
So she was just using it to manipulate the situation.
Yep.
All too common. And to Brother Brandon Jeter's point, I like that.
I'm not doing this tonight.
Spot
I'm not
on.
doing this.
I would say this. Hey, Joy, I appreciate your comment. Appreciate you being here tonight. She says she got a question I'd like to answer. We may have already kind of touched on this a little bit. Good afternoon. Do you know yourself? Do you know you yourself are an energy sucker, or the people around you? I think sometimes people do know. And I think that sometimes people don't know.
You got an example of when somebody actually knows that they're an energy sucker?
Oh, shit.
I know what my energy is.
I know when I was an energy sucker, when I was going through a breakup and I walked in and every friend I called was like, oh, Antoine, again, we just talked about this. I knew I was an energy sucker.
So you knew when someone told you.
Yeah, right off the bat, he told me, "Come on, man, we just."
Did you
need
know
to-"
before that? Did you
Yeah.
know before
Oh,
they
yeah,
told
yeah.
you?
Absolutely.
How did you know?
Because nobody was picking up the phone. Straight up. Straight up. Nobody was picking up the phone. These were good friends of mine. And the one that did pick up the phone told me, "Man, we talked about this just last week, man. We had this conversation." I knew right off the bat. I knew I had to do something within me to change. And I said, "Oh,
See?
got you.
See, and that's
But
what
I
I said
recognized, I
earlier.
wasn't
That's what
afraid
I
to
said
face it. I
earlier.
recognized it, right?
I like
I'm
it.
not going to spend more time on it. I recognized right off the bat, right? Because I'm like, man, it's true. Because, so when that happened, I started to make a change because he straight up told me, "Man, you're killing me over here. We just talked about this last week. Remember, I spent 4 hours over dinner with you on this. Come on, man. You're better than this. Jesus Christmas." Boom.
And see,
And then
and
woke
see
up
that
on it.
right there, that right there is what I was talking about when I said that if you come to me with the same thing twice, the second time you come to me is I'm not going to be friendly about it because we already had this conversation. You understand what I'm saying? We already had this conversation and you still went and did that anyway. You deserve what you got. Now move on because
Move
I'm
on.
not talking about it no more and you can't make me.
See, I think
That's funny.
I'm the master of okay. When somebody you done said so, you done gave them all you got, and they didn't take it. Whatever you say, okay, okay. Because if you just talking to talk, not to change, and when people just talk to hear themselves talk to get it out, it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you ain't about to change, you're not about to do anything about it, so you just want to have a conversation, and I'm just gonna okay because that's as good as anything else.
I don't know if I've ever been the energy sucker, so I don't know how I know myself. Chris said that he was an energy sucker. Antoine mentioned that they were energy suckers. I've never been. So if I would speak on this, it would be from what I think or what I may see in someone else.
I know when my
I'm
mood
gonna
is
bow
low.
down. Huh?
When I'm in a bad mood, when I'm not in a where if I come around, I'm gonna be like, I'm drained.
I think there's a difference in like
Okay, yeah.
your awareness, your presence that go with that. Like if you're in a bad mood and you walk into a room and people can tell you got a bad mood on you, that's different. You know what I'm saying? That's you in your personal space. But like when in the observation mode, because I've never been an energy sucker either, but having to manage people that abuse other people and access to them, you see a lot of that in the military. You know what I'm saying? So there's a way to look at it and see who's getting over, pretty much. Like somebody that has a hand on making any type of rosters and always got their people set up first or last or making somebody else catch the worst of the worst every time and never balances it out. Like there's bad distribution and what I'm saying in effort, things of that nature. People that don't help but they're around, just in the way, you're an energy sucker too. So like generally speaking, the behavior is parasitic when you think about it. They use the host until the host rejects them, and then now you got to find something else to latch on. So you're almost a tick. It's like being an energy tick.
Yeah.
And you always got to
Coach.
be connected to somebody. That's the other thing too. If you have to be connected to somebody all the time, you might be an energy sucker too.
Yeah. So I think this is a good question. And this is definitely a question for self-reflection. I would start off by saying, do you have anybody in your circle that you add value to? Like, is there anybody who looks forward to talking to you? Like people who like learn from you on a day-to-day basis. I think that kind of helps you to understand whether or not you are an energy sucker or not. First and foremost, is there anybody you're always pulling from? Do I always need some? Like if I call Roland like 3 times a week and say, Roland, man, I need you. Hey, man, I need you to do something. Hey, man, I got a question for you. Hey, Roland, real quick, I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time because we like to set up the BS that we about to say before we do so. So, Roland, I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time, but I'm about to take up a whole bunch of your time. That's just what it is. So when you start looking at your own behavior, if your behavior says I am in constant need of somebody else's presence, time, and energy, then I might be an energy sucker. I kind of feel like, what's that dude name? He's remember that You Might Be a Redneck joke? You guys remember that?
Jeff
You Might Be a Redneck.
Foxworthy.
Yeah. Jeff Foxworthy. There you go. So if you're constantly in need of one particular person, you might be an energy sucker. If you were constantly pulling from other people, resources, things of that nature, you might be an energy sucker. If you don't ever add value to anybody else, you might be an energy sucker. I'm gonna go on tour with that one, by the way.
I'm with
I
it.
like that.
I think
I like that. You
Go
might
ahead.
just be an energy sucker.
Something with
Brandon
that.
like that too.
The
You know
coach-
what? We own it tonight, man. Everybody, I appreciate y'all. Y'all been adding, you know, a lot of you guys been on it tonight up here. You know,
Yeah, but
I
I
really
think-
appreciate you guys. Go ahead.
Garfield, I think like, man, I guess I hope I'm not the only one. I think you should always add value to someone when you talk to them. I wouldn't talk to somebody if I don't add value when I call them or talk to them. I don't believe in hanging around you if you don't provide some sort of entertainment need or something we're talking about, right? Why would I communicate with you? I think you need to always be like that with someone, because what else would you have interest of talking to that person for? Like what are you talking about?
Well,
Like,
sometimes you can just be having general conversation. You know, every person that I meet, I'm not necessarily. I agree in adding value to people, but if I'm meeting somebody in the street or at Burger King, I'm
That's
not
different.
necessarily looking to add value. But I understand what you're saying about certain relationships and tight circles and
Yeah.
different people within your wolf pack or family and different things like that. I understand that.
like
But
you know when some
But
people
see,
say
here's
like
the thing, though. Here's the
you can-
thing, though.
say,
We
like,
can have a
this-
casual conversation like this. Like we can have a casual conversation like this. Us six on this platform right here. We're giving value to each other. But if I have a casual conversation with you and I feel tired after we have that conversation, like I'm
Exactly.
physically like exhausted, like I need to take a nap.
I be
I
tired on
don't think I
Wednesday
want
night.
to stop it. But I don't think I want to talk. I don't think I want to talk to that person like that no more. Like you are literally making me tired with your voice. You understand what I'm saying? Why would I want to be around you? Especially if you're complaining about nothing.
Yeah, but like it's like you can go like even if I say like if me and my friend we go into Burger King or whatever to eat and I say hi to somebody and they don't say hi back. It's okay because I'm saying hi because I'm feeling good. Really don't know what you're going through, but I'm expressing how I'm feeling. I don't need your hi back. I'm just saying it to be courteous because I'm at that tone. I'm at that level. You don't always need to hear it back if you're feeling good because you're in a good space. You're going to express it some way or another. You're going to hold the door open for somebody, right? You could tell by a person's actions what they're going through and what they feel. If they don't say hi back, well, it sucks to be you because what's wrong with a hi or a goodbye?
It could be based off where you're from regionally too. In the South, they speak. Sometime up north, you speak, and they just keep it moving. So
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
That shit right.
But that's another whole conversation for a whole day. Let's keep it rolling, man. No pun intended, but a little pun.
I see what you did there.
That's my guy up there. You know what I'm saying?
He's always gonna get a shout out no matter what. Because
You got to.
inevitable to say keep it rolling.
Yeah. So what we may have already tapped into it. Yes, I did stutter a little bit, but it's okay. So what are some of the effects of energy suckers if we haven't already went down there?
Depleted
Mine would-
resources and time.
Right. Like I think what I previously said would be it. Like you are exhausted after dealing with them. You're tired and you don't want to do nothing. And that cloud that was over their head is over your head now. So now you gotta shake that off, get back to where you were,
Right?
maintain where you were, and then get back to doing what you were normally doing. Like I'm not trying to do all that, man. Like no. And like I said, this is me speaking as a dude who used to do that. And I saw how bad of an investment it was to talk to me when I was doing this. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't want to feel like this no more. I don't want to feel like I'm siphoning energy from people that need it. And I don't want to have my energy taken. So let me look to see what I can fix. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah. It's like when the phone rings in the morning and you're like, oh, I don't want to start my day with that one. And you go back because you know it's a downhill once you say hello. So I'm not ready for that right now. Let me get my coffee in me. let me rev my gears up here.
Look, the process of recognizing, you know what I'm saying, the effects of an energy sucker, it take a lot of evaluation and inventory to figure out what you did to attract them to you, you know, because a lot of them are like, I would look at this from an enabler's point of view, you know, because if you're interacting with energy suckers, they probably tapping into your resources if you're enabling them, you know. So you'd have to look at the wasted time, the missed opportunities, the damaged relationships, a lot of, you know, compromised networks. Just some words that just, you know, came to the top of my head as I was typing them out, because energy suckers, they damage credibility. They make it hard to navigate stuff that's usually routine. They complicate things. They don't typically make things more efficient. You know what I'm saying? Because by default, they're there to suck the life out of the situation. So parasitic, you know what I'm saying, and in behavior.
You with that?
Any more effects? No? Yes? Well, let's keep it moving then, gentlemen. Let's move on to the next one. How can men establish and maintain healthy boundaries? You know what? I don't like that one. I'm going to move on to this one. You know what I'm saying? So what are some personal experiences and insights on how to maintain positive energy and protect against energy suckers?
Roland said it earlier. Brutal honesty. You are taking my energy from me. I do not need that from you. I got this to do. So if you're not going to help me get here, or if I can't do anything to help you get there, or if you're not even going to listen to me when I give you a jewel to get you there, leave me alone.
I don't even know why people would entertain that thought. Like, why would you entertain an energy sucker? Like,
Because
you know
I'm,
the
I'm
phone. Why?
I'll
Like,
give you the gist. I'll give
yeah,
you the gist, Antoine.
give me a reason why you would put yourself in that position. I just want to hear
I'll give you the gist of
a
it.
scenario.
And Coach said it earlier. People don't know how to be by themselves. So to have somebody, they'll take an energy sucker because that energy sucker is somebody. Most people don't know how to be by themselves and maintain themselves. I used to be one of them when I would jump from relationship to situationship to relationship to situationship to relationship to situationship. I used to be like that. Then when I said, all right, none of this is working, I ain't happy, I'm ruining a bunch of great women. How about I just remove myself from the whole thing and just be me? Figure out what I'm doing, figure out what I need to do. And like I said, life got easier. There's a codependency. Vic put it in the chat. There's a codependency that certain people have. They need somebody. A lot of us don't know how to be alone.
That's sad for you because there's things out there on codependency and things. You see, if you have a problem with that, right? If you have a problem with codependency and all that, and you always need to hear somebody's voice, blah blah blah. Listen, that's an issue with you. There's something called a therapist. There's something called a talk group. There's things that you can take action to make you a better person. You know, and if I know an alcoholic, I'm not going to talk to him about alcoholism. There's no way I have the tools for that. Right? I can sponsor him and I can go with him to a class and maybe find one for him, but I'm not going to spend hours trying to convince him not to drink. Right? And just like if you're an energy sucker, I'm going to tell you you're an energy sucker. I'm not going to make it sound pretty, so you have to think about what I meant and did I mean it? No. I'm going to tell you. So we can start from that point right there. Sorry to hurt your feelings, but hey, you know what? You need to hear it from me because I at least care to tell you. Right? Or you can go, to somebody else that's going to pat you on the back and say, it's okay, No, you ain't serving no purpose to me being like that. And I'm in a good mood right now. That's how it has to be. You need to be honest, man.
And some people have a need to be needed.
Yeah.
So they will separate those people out and find them, oh, you need me. that's why in the military, I never understood why people would. I don't do the patting on the back and the coddling and all that other stuff because I was mission oriented and I knew at certain points this is not going to be fruitful in our relationship. So, you had to be one way, and when you be consistent in you, then people know what they get from you. So they're not going to bring certain things to you.
Dude, don't glaze over that. Like there was a whole bar right there. Like real talk. Like some people have the need to be needed. And I would say, since we're talking about transparency, that was me. Like I thought that I had to fix everything and fix everybody. You know what I mean? Then I got older and came to the realization that it's not my job to fix everybody, and I can't fix everybody, and everybody does not want to be fixed. And who am I to think that I have all the answers to their problems to be able to fix them anyway? But that's what made me feel good. It made me feel good to want to be needed. And I think that, what I mean, most men at some point may have a slight of that in them. And this is just my personal thought, is because I think sometimes that what makes us better providers. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the need to be needed, but maybe more so the feeling of being able to provide and do your job. You know what I mean? It's like a feeling of accomplishment. Tupac said, I love paying rents when the rents due. You know what I mean? Like me, I said it before. Like I enjoy, being a man and being able to do those things that men traditionally do, like being able to protect and provide. You know what I mean? So that was just a quick little thought that I had in my head right now.
But if you can't be by yourself, man, that means you got nothing going on in your life. You got nothing better to do. Like you really have nothing that you need somebody else. When you're alone and you can't be by yourself, that means you got nothing to do. You got no hobby, nothing that you're working towards, no book to read, no activity. You just a lump on a log on a couch watching TV?
No, not for me. My neediness came from but just to clarify for that, my neediness came from just being married. Like I wanted to be needed. I needed to be needed. I needed someone to need me. You know what I mean? I needed my kids to want me for something. I needed my ex-wife to want me for something. I needed my friends and my coworkers to need something for me so I could feel validated. For whatever reason, that's how I used to be. I'm no longer like that. I enjoy and I like doing things for people, but I don't feel the need to be needed anymore.
See, and people go through that when they become empty nesters, when children leave the house. Because when my kids were in the house, daddy, I need. Then when they gone, my daughter called me in Houston. Hey, the sink is broke. Okay, it take me 3.5 hours to get there, but I'll be there. So because it's like, okay, I feel like I'm about to accomplish something. Or mothers who, when they housewives, then their children go off, and then they like, okay, what's my purpose? But when you find purpose in self, when I think John said something about self-confidence earlier. When you have that self-confidence and find purpose in self, then you can alleviate all that other stuff because you can identify other ways to put your hands to the plow to find work to do or find something that makes you fulfilled.
I'm over here laughing, man, because these guys are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna mute my mic. Coach, the floor is yours. He's not time for the benediction, John, but let's roll with it.
Stop it. So I'm listening to this, and I think you guys are like spot on. But I think for the most part, you're talking about a deeper issue. And for the most part, as we're going over, like, you got to do this, you don't have this going on. That's kind of like taking cold medicine for a cold, right? You're only treating a symptom, but you're not getting down to the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem can stem anywhere from what we understand to be attachment issues. And gentlemen, we've talked about this for like weeks, a few weeks back. We could be talking about an attachment issue that a person actually have, and we're thinking that they just won't take responsibility in their life, even though they won't, but they won't take responsibility because they have an attachment issue that says that they actually depend on somebody else to do a thing. Also, in conjunction with that, it could be the way that they view themselves themselves when it comes down to self-worth. Again, not a plug, but join us on Friday night. We're going to kind of peel it all the way back, because when it comes down to self-worth, some people find their value in their doing. And you should never find your value in what you do, because you degrade yourself to activity. When you degrade yourself to activity, you're literally operating outside of your core competency, which is to be. When you understand that you were designed to be, then that changes the whole concept of what you do. You be so that you can do. You don't do so that someone else can think that you be. So when we really get back to it and really get down to the root of it all, when you start talking about these people who are energy vampires, energy suckers, right? And getting down to the concept of energy suckers and things of that nature, they may be an energy sucker simply because they have attachment issues that were never uncovered and never resolved.
Therapy.
Everybody don't know they need therapy.
Therapy.
Like Vic started off with talking about some of the narcissism traits. Like,
Yeah,
you haven't been diagnosed as a narcissist.
Antoine, somebody had to
probably
tell
don't
you.
know.
Somebody had to tell you that you was being an energy thief. You didn't know it.
I knew it after nobody was picking up the phone. I knew something was up.
But before then,
But before that's the point. Like,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you have to have people around you that are, man. That's why my circle is so tight, because
everybody doesn't have somebody around them. Like, everybody doesn't have a mentor, and that's the other thing too. The gap in mentorship after you become an adult, like, there's like little to none. You either get lucky and you got somebody that's around you and you got a good network. But what about people that don't have an Antoine or a Chris or an Uncle or Roland or a coach? You know what I'm saying? What about those people? And this is the thing, like, we have enough credentials on the panel where we can take care of each other, but a lot of people can't afford access to consistent therapy or coaching or mentorship. And not everybody in most of these spaces has discovered what they're good at, because if they're busy being attached to other people and looking for attachment, if they're not attached and they haven't had time to work on themselves in general to actually get themselves out of whatever low space that they're in. So there's a lot of variables when you think about it critically and you start deconstructing it. There's a lot of things you can't simulate. Just like when earlier when Coach said there's no constructive way to tell someone that they're being an energy sucker. You just have to, bring the topic up and let it go where it does. Because at some point that person has to see that the path that they're on is an unhealthy one. Just like you had to be brought to understand that too, what you were doing to other people, which goes back to a lack of objectivity, man. You gotta step away and see how it functions without you. And then a lot of people aren't very well versed on knowing the difference between subjective emotions and objective behavior too, because you got to be able to look at stuff as though you're not in it. If you can't do that, you're gonna have a tough time understanding that you're the energy vampire.
But you know what? The only thing I'm gonna say to that is this. I'm taking away a lot of people's excuses today because I didn't grow up with the internet. I had a phone, right? So a lot of people have a lot more access today to gain the knowledge they need to gain, right? Just like you can't tell me you didn't get my message. One way or the other, even if your phone dropped, you broke it, the next minute you put in that chip, you're going to see that I called you. So you can't tell me that you didn't get my phone call, right? A lot of people have access today through libraries that don't even have books anymore, through either way, cafes that have computers. There's a lot more access today to reach to get the information you need to get. So I'm not going to give people a full pass because they don't have a mentor like me or Roland or coach. Because now, unlike me when I was growing up, they have the access to it and they got a lot more information coming to them that they can process. They even have something called a phone that they walk around with that can give it to them. So I'm not going to say fully that they can't find somebody, but I'm going to say they have it a lot easier today than they did in the past. So finding that information, just like you can self-evaluate, if something's wrong with you, you can go on YouTube now and say, listen, I'm feeling a twinge in my elbow. Let me just type in what the problem is, and boom, you got a whole bunch of doctors coming up telling you certain things. That's all I'm saying.
I want to add a little context to what I said earlier, because Vic, I see you put in the chat, human beings should be human doings. I want to make sure that everybody understands what we're saying when we say this, right? If you don't focus on being who you're designed to be and hope that what you're doing will allow people to assume that you're a person that you're really not, then it's not going to be for but so long before they realize that you're not your authentic self, that you're a fake. And then at that point, when people start alienating themselves or pulling themselves away from you, it's not by happenstance. It's because you didn't spend enough time on this right here before you start trying to put the action in place. You got to focus on this, move this up so that now what you do becomes a representative of who you are. That's why I say you have to be a human being. You are a human being, not a human doing. If you focus on the doing before the being, you're not being your authentic self.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Hey, last one, man. I just kind of want to go around the room and I want to see, what I mean, what do y'all think some ways that people can deal with some of these things, like in their workplace or just in, especially personal relationships? I know we talked about it, probably in a lot of details, but I would like to specifically go back and revisit this again before we close out the show.
Read the room. Like, you got to pay attention to how you are received, acknowledged, if at all, and make the necessary adjustments. Go to the places where you have like the least amount of conflict possible, so you don't have to operate in a defensive position. Typically, if you're operating in a defensive position, then you're gonna always be on 10, anxious for no reason, and it's just unhealthy in general to walk around and think like that, and think it's sustainable.
What are some of the strategies?
I think you do the same thing in your workplace life, in your personal relationships, as you would anything else. If somebody is taking your energy from you, especially at the workplace, because you need your energy at the workplace to actually perform right, especially if you're doing what you're passionate about. If somebody is in your workplace pulling the energy that you need to do your job from you, you remove them from your vicinity. You stay away from them. You bring it to their attention and say, hey, I can't do this with you right now because I got to focus on this. In personal relationships, it's the same thing. What you're doing right here is affecting me everywhere else. So I'm going to need you to quit that, because if you don't quit this, I can't do this. And then I'm not going to be the dude that you want as a friend. I'm going to start being really, really forward and really, really blunt with you, to the point where you're going to think that I'm upset with you. When I'm not upset with you, I'm upset with your behaviors. And I need your behaviors to stop so that way we can maintain this personal relationship. It's the same everywhere. You have to understand that your energy is what you need. This is the part of the game where you get to be selfish. This is the part of the game where you get to be selfish. You need your energy. You need it. It's necessary. You have to have it to function, whether it's in a professional or a personal setting. And if somebody is taking that from you, you let them know. And if they keep doing it, you let them go.
And in the workplace, it all depends on how well you know them, right? Because you can't just, personally, I just ignore them. I don't see any reason why you should deal with it. But if you have some empathy for the person and what they're going through, then you could pull them aside and make them understand. But other than that, why would you, like I said, put yourself in the line of fire? What for? Just ignore them. Do your business. Do you put your headphones in? Use your cell phone and go about your business. It's not always. Don't always try to be a savior, for crying out loud.
So I kind of see this just a little different, and here's why. So for somebody who has a project management degree, you can be an energy sucker and be a detriment to the team as well. So team development is a thing. So I think what we need to understand is the stages of team development, right? So forming, storming, norming, and performing. I think when we understand that during the storming phases, when people get to fighting and arguing, whatever the case may be, the manager takes a step back and just observe. As long as it doesn't become toxic and detrimental to the environment, once it does, the manager interjects and then point everybody back to the reason why the team has been formed. Let's be completely transparent. When it comes down to the workplace, you have a contractual obligation. In other words, you have a relationship between you and the organization. You can be an energy vampire if you want to. You'll find yourself without a job. I think that's just that simple, cut and dry. When it comes down to personal relationships, they are choices. Again, they are choices. So do what your patience will allow you to do. I think that's what it is. I would, inform a person of a thing, but at some point, I save my patience for my children. I don't exercise a lot of patience with adults because you have the right to make a decision. I would tell you 2, maybe 3 times at max. At the third time, I understand what I need to do for myself because the most important thing to me is peace. You will not get the opportunity to compromise my peace. I will give you a warning. I will let you know, and I may exercise a little patience because, like we talked about previously, you may not have been aware. But once my peace is compromised and I have informed you, and now you have actively made a decision to compromise my peace, all bets are off.
I like it. Hey, what we're gonna do right now? We're about to transition into our final thoughts. Before I do, I want to say a special thanks to everybody who's been here tonight, especially the chat. I apologize if I wasn't able to get to everybody's questions tonight, but keep putting them in the chat, keep joining, keep supporting all of those different things like that. Next week we'll be back, same time, same bat place, all of those things. I'm gonna go around the horn real quick to everybody up here. Take 1 or 2 minutes, pretty much more 1 minute, and kind of shout out. I ain't gonna, no special order or anything like that, but just go around the room. Anybody who has any platform, anything going on in their life that you would like some sort of support in, take time right now, real quick, to plug whatever it is that you got going on that you want someone to watch. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, all of our information will be in the description if you want to reach out to any of us for any particular reason. So plug away, folks.
I'm just chilling, being angry.
Come on, I thought I was waiting for you to be angry. Give us something, man.
That ain't a plug. I'm talking about you got no platforms you want nobody to follow, no show, no episodes, no
Not yet, only because
dance videos.
only because I'm in the midst of figuring some things out, trying to work some things out. You know what I'm saying? Not yet.
Let me see how we're gonna do this. I would say, you know what? Listen, to everybody that watches and knows I will be coming up with some new videos soon. I swear I will be coming up with some new demonstration videos and all that computer stuff behind. I'm trying to find somebody that can do it because I really don't have the time to do it. But it's not like I don't want to draw and show you what I do like I used to do for those other videos. So I will be getting back into it. I promise you. Promise you. That's it.
Vic, Coach. Roland. Oh, Roland, go ahead, Roland.
Me, Coach, and Uncle Junior, we got the Black Magic Mike reunion coming about. No, I'm just
Coach. Coach, did you order the hammocks yet?
No, man, I'm not playing. I'm not participating in that. I'm just producing. I'm in the backstage.
I am not messing with none of y'all tonight.
I did order
it's already sold out.
Gallon. I did order the 55-gallon drum of baby oil for you guys, just so that you know.
After 55-gallon.
No, but right now I'm just on this podcast, and then me and Coach, we on Friday evenings also, and I have some things in the works that's coming about where I have to make sure that the content is not counterproductive and also not some of the same thing that we're already doing. So because I want to have something that helps people, elevates people, as well as helps our people in a positive light. That's all.
I love it. I love it. That's why I had to point at the poor man, Dr. Phil. Notice the name change. It's for a reason. That's what I'm talking about. The man of many hats. As he already said, man, Friday nights, the Hearts of Men podcast hosted by the Empower Perspective community. This Friday, we're going to be talking about the 4 key points to your self worth. I think that's important to understand, and it kind of is a great spinoff off of this conversation. Also, we're getting ready to launch our membership program. And so the membership program is all about taking the conversations that we have and putting it into a practical application aspect. So those who join the membership program, they get different types of information that everybody
That's that hotel
is not going to
internet.
be privy to. They also, hey man, it wasn't meant for me to say. That's all it was.
You
It's a
got
good
most
thing you
of it.
got to plug it a little bit earlier then. Go ahead,
It's all
Vic.
good.
So as usual, go cop the book, The Code. Catches a lot of this conversation that we've already been having. I'm working on my third book called The Code of Accountable Masculinity, and I'm just kind of floating on when I want to have it published by, because this year is the 5-year anniversary of the first book, The Code, and I'm debating if I want to do something leading up to that 5-year anniversary moment, and drop the third book. And I don't know, just kind of sorting it out. But for the most part, the book is underway. Close to the part where I got to read it again for like the 16th time to see if I feel comfortable with it. And just plugging away, man. Just trying to make some stuff happen. Everybody that's up here, if you get a chance to go follow my YouTube, follow everybody's YouTube that has a channel up here, and check out the merch. I dropped some links in the chat, so you can go check out my Shopify store, and I put them both over here on YouTube and on Facebook. So go get the book.
Love it, love it, love it. Like it, like it, like it. All those good things. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to close out, but like I said, before we do, we're going to go around the horn with our final thoughts. See you shortly.
Recognizing and dealing with energy suckers. First of all, recognizing. You have to recognize triggers in yourself, things that may trigger you from other people, so that you may not deem what someone has in them as it's a trigger for you, but it may be them reaching out, reaching for help. But also be consistent. You have to be consistent in how you are. If you're up and down, if you're everywhere haywire, nobody wants to talk to you, then you may need some therapy. And don't be so coarse that when someone needs assistance, needs help, that you push them away simply because it's negative in your domain. Because some people actually need help. But those energy suckers, when they come around, it's always a take, and never take responsibility for their actions, and never accept what you say as truth, or they just want to get it out, say these things, go away, and come back the same. So know who you are, be consistent, and don't allow yourself to be stretched too thin. Because if you're constantly stretched, if you're constantly pouring out, who's pouring into you? And you can't empty yourself for someone that's already empty, because at the end of the day, you have to remain filled.
Hey, here's my final thought for the night. At the end of the day, we only have so much time and we only have so much energy. I'm gonna take a page out of Coach's book, and one of the things that he kind of added on to what I said was, it's important to, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And Coach had added to that and said, you fill up your cup, and then the overflow is what you give everybody else. So I've adopted that mindset or that point of view since knowing him, because he has positive energy and I like his energy. We were able to connect, and we've been, doing this show, and he's been part of it for, probably over a year now. And I can't even remember, it's been a while. But I want to finish up with, like I said, is that the energy is important. We only have a certain amount of energy. It's important that we balance that amount of energy and choose who we decide to give how much energy to. We can't give all of our energy to this or to that. We have to have balance, and we have to learn about ourselves and learn about what our purpose is or our goal is to decide which and how much energy we choose to give to each of these different aspects of our life, in our relationships, and in, just working with other people on a day-to-day basis.
Recognizing and dealing with energy suckers. I'm going to take a page out of Dr. Easley's book. Rewind and just watch. We broke down how to deal with it, how to not deal with it, what to do when it comes across, all of that. Everybody pretty much said it. Your energy is what you need to function. You can't have people that are constantly trying to take that from you in a negative fashion just because they feel like they can. So that's my final thought. Sometimes we're smarter than we give ourselves credit for, and we know the people who are actually doing these things. We just need to be straight up and honest with them. That's my final thought.
All right. So my final thought is this: simplify everything. Okay. To recognize somebody is an energy sucker, simply feel. How do you feel when that person calls you, texts you, writes you, or whatever it is? Any form of communication that they have with you. How is your initial feeling during that first reaction? Then you know, right? Because if you have a negative feeling, obviously they're energy suckers. Second, manage your energy like as you would manage your time. Give it where it's needed. It's like in an airplane. They always tell you put on your mask first before helping the person next to you, because you're no good to somebody if you're not healthy yourself. Now, if you're in a positive frame of mind, why would you put yourself in a line of fire of somebody that's an energy sucker? The truth hurts. Yeah, how you feel about it, fine. You wouldn't feel that way if you didn't know the truth. And you can't make bad news sound pretty. It's still bad news. So just be direct with the person that's doing what they're doing. If they suck your energy, tell them. If they suck the life out of a room, just be honest enough to tell them. Don't sugarcoat around it and use all these big fancy words to make it sound pretty. No, this is how you are. This is how you're making me feel. This is what people feel in the room, and you need to change that. Give them some tools, give them some advice, and just let them know therapy is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, and it's not an insulting thing. It's actually more people need it, to be honest with you. Right? Because if you can't do it by yourself and people around you are pushing you away, you have to seek outside help and find somebody that works for you. That's my final thought.
First step in getting energy suckers off of you is read the room and watch Elevated Dialogue on Wednesdays to keep the energy suckers off of you. Avoid unhealthy conflicts, never miss an opportunity to increase your objectivity, which leads to better self-awareness. If you're useful to others and of service to others, you'll have a hard time being an energy sucker when you're concentrating on helping others that help themselves. The worst thing a human being can be is a burden to another human being. So, with that being said, you guys tune in next week to Elevated Dialogue and avoid the energy suckers.
So great conversation tonight. I'm gonna try to get my points in real quick before this internet goes out. Again, I think it's important to work on self, right? You have to elevate yourself so that you can have a better awareness of not only just you, but your surroundings. Your environment is extremely important. Again, I think I said this last week, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So the only thing it is repurposed. So when you really think about the things that you're thinking about, that kind of helps you to understand the plane of existence that you are, what's the word I'm looking for? That you are emitting on. That's the word. The energy that you emit. So what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to achieve? Where do your thoughts take you in relation to that. And you will emit on that level of existence, and you will attract those things based upon the energy that you are emitting. Also, when it comes down to being able to read the room thing, now we're talking about things such as emotional intelligence. This is a very difficult process to get to obtain, to understand. This whole thing that we call our body, it is nothing but a sensor. If we do not understand that your body is a sensor, number one, we do not understand how to read the room. We do not understand emotional intelligence, and we probably struggle with relationship management as well. So those are the keys that I want to talk about. Number one, identify what it is that you want to do and where you want to go in your life. Take a good account of yourself and how you're displaying in your environment. Look at who you surround yourself with. If everybody that you surround yourself is either on the same level or beneath you, then you're probably not in a room that you need to be on. You need to have relationships that exist on 3 planes. You need to have peers, you need to have people that are higher than you, then you need to have people that are lower than you when it comes down to the energy that you want to emit. And all you have to do is pay close attention. And I think that's just about it.
Yeah, I like all of those final thoughts. Gentlemen, this show would not be possible without you guys. So again, I appreciate you every Wednesday. You guys take time out of y'all's busy schedule to come over here and chat it up. Chris said earlier, we talked about value. That word was used a couple of times today. So I always think that whenever I show up on Wednesday night, that I'm going to gain some value, gain some information. And I also feel like I want to be a contributing part to the conversation and offer value as well. So I understand in order to make that possible, we have to have effective communication and different things of that such in order to keep it moving. So gentlemen, personally want to thank you guys for just being here every week that you're here. I really appreciate it. And I thank you all. I love all of you individually at different levels. And I really appreciate everything that you do. To the chat, to everybody watching at home, to anyone that may be watching on the replay, I appreciate you being here. To anybody on the different networks and different platforms, there's Twitter out here, there's Facebook, there's a bunch of different platforms that we're all streaming to. If you're not streaming on the Uncle Junior Network, that is okay. I appreciate you for being here watching on Chris's or Vic's or Roland's or Dwayne's or Antoine's other different platforms. So shout out to you. Hello. Thank you for supporting all those good things. And we're going to see all of y'all again back here next week, next Wednesday night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're out. See you guys next week.